Hello, and thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Donna.
These are few heritage sites World Heritage Site, Tikal, Guatemala, Temple Nara, Japan, New Zealand, Te Waiponumura, and this one Rapa Nui National Park, Chile, and this one Mount Fuji. This mountain, which is situated in Japan, is also a site of heritage listed in a World Heritage Site. And this one is Machu Picchu. So you think that all these heritage, it is very, very important that we should store, we should make it safe. It should not be destroyed by a climate change, yeah, by the disasters. So it's very important that we need to transform the world. So if you see all over the world, there is lot of disasters are going on. And these are because of growing vulnerability, rapid economic development in earthquake and flood prone areas, poor governance and decline in ecosystem climate, change associated with occurrence of more frequent and intense extreme weather events. So just I want to discuss the Indian scenario because I'm more familiar with the Indian scenario. If you can see in this picture, there is a earthquake. This area, this Indian map is prone to earthquake. And in Indian plate, we have faced so many earthquakes. Few are this Bhuj earthquake, Jammu Kashmir earthquake, Assam earthquake, and Nepal earthquake. And each earthquake, we have to bear a loss of more than 100 million US dollar. Now you see that India is again vulnerable to the coastal area, which is and the coast. India has a very big and long coastal area, near about 7,500 kilometer long coastal line is available in India, and the whole coastline that is vulnerable to cyclone and tsunami. If you see the northeastern part, that is prone to landslide, and even if in the downside there is southeastern part, that is again Western Ghat, including Nilgiris, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. If we integrate in all these area into a one map, we will see that the whole part is vulnerable to one or the other disaster. Apart from that, we are facing lot of disaster which is human induced. So it's very important that we have to save our cultural, our heritage buildings, so that we can give these heritage site to our coming generations. We have faced, if we consider in the last year disasters, so last year we have faced, from since 2020 we have faced pandemic. Apart from that, we have faced so many parallel disasters. Here I have listed few of them. That is, one is fire in Asab Bhagjan oil well. It has been continuously for the 3 months. Then experts have been called from the Singapore, from the US, and they have come, they reach there and provide their expertise, and because of that somehow we have been able to douse that fire. We in as Delhi is a capital of India, and we have faced near about 13 to 14 earthquake shakes. In the same year, we also have faced the Amphan cyclone, which is in the Mumbai and the Gujarat area. Nargis cyclone. And here you can see the lot of things that even this monument and has been flooded. Then you can see the impact of climate change in Canada. There are a lot of floods one side, and after that we have seen a lot of temperature rise in the Canadian regions. You can see how floods in China, which is really unprecedented and unpredictable. Floods in Australia, which is a clear-cut indication of climate change. And it says that this is the right time to take care of our climate, take care of our environment, and take care of our Mother Earth. Here you can see how people who belongs to Canada, they are really disappointed from the heat because they were not been able to cope up such 47 and 50 degree of temperatures. Apart from that, if you see the world has faced the forest fire in Turkey. Amazon forest fire, here is a video which I would like to show. Give me a minute.
Dr. Mukta, can you just talk us through the video because we're not getting the sound through from the audio. We're not getting the audio through.
So idea is just to say that if there is a one forest fire, it has contributed a lot to a climate change. Now let's take another example, which is a California fire. Here you can see because of this fire, near about 69,600 square kilometer area have been affected, or you can say this area have been deforested. Which is directly affected to community and at the same time our environment also. So now the biggest fire, which is Amazon forest fire, and it is this Amazon forest fire has been spread over the 670 million hectares, and we know that this is a carbon sink of all over the world. So it's very important to save this forest, but even this area there is a forest fire and 80,000 square kilometer area have been destroyed. So, and this type of forest fire happen every year. If you see the graph and if you see the area which has been affected because of the forest fire, it is really a critical condition of the earth. So what is the cause? Cause is the deforestation, clear land for agriculture and the mining. Sometimes people, they are not aware what is a future of these activities and they are doing unknowingly all those things. So should we still be concerned? The answer is yes, we have to concern because the whole world is worried related to climate change, melting of glaciers, depletion of ozone layers, increase of hot days, increase of desertification, deforestation, and lowering growth. And again, the question comes, what we are giving to our next generation? I think our ancestors, they haven't given us such type of earth which we are providing to our coming generation. In India, there is a very big Uttarakhand forest fire. Near about 400 area have been spotted to the forest fire, and people have been tried with so many ways and means, but fortunately there was a rain and that fire have been controlled. There is again some oil well. When it went on its effect on the environment, just I wanted to clear that how these things are affecting the environment. This is the point where this fire have been started, which is very close to a national park which is known as Dibru-Saikova, and this one is a Ramsar site, and which has to be Ramsar site. You all know that is a heritage site with terms of national park, and here near about 500 to 600 wild life or species are living. So it's very, very important to take care of this forest, and it is flowing near about in river Brahmaputra river. When this fire is smoke is going went on the environment, and when we go on the sky, it again conduce in the form of the drop, and they come back again on the river. You can see how thin yellow layer have been formed on the river, and that yellow layer which is not transparent, and which is where this one is the main cause of aquatic animal. Because of this, so many animals and dolphin have been died, and this dolphin is known as Indo-Gangetic dolphin, which has announced as a national dolphin, national aquatic mammal, as national animal, and national bird. The same way it's national aquatic, so it has a very, very importance, and it has to be buried as per the our Indian Indian system, it has to wrap in Indian flag, and then it needs to be buried. So it's really very serious, the serious concern to take care of the environment. Last year, we also faced the glacial outburst in Chamoli, and near about 250 people, they have been died. And in between, lot of two a plant which is known as Tapovan and NTPC plant have been completely destroyed. 200 people, they don't know. They have been buried under the debris of this glacial outburst. This one, you can see a very, very beautiful picture, which is a Iranian city of Bam. It is again listed in the UNESCO World Heritage Site. And now you see, after the earthquake, this scenario. So don't you think that we have to really take care of these heritage sites and protect these heritage sites? This one is another you can see area which is destroyed by the earthquake. Here you can see another Bamia Valley in Afghanistan. This one is historic town of Jabed in Yemen, Gramba National Park. So in all these heritage sites, pollutions are affecting. So how these are affecting? They are affecting the buildings. Buildings have been started corroded. Monuments are getting weathered. Biodegradation, museums, libraries, their whatever the people think, they are again getting spoiled, soiling libraries and archives. So major air pollutants are SO2 and NO4. This one is a picture which I really deliberately want to show how these heritage sites have been affected because of the climate change. This one is a pure, you can see the white shining Taj Mahal, and this one is getting grayish yellow. So that is then and now. You can see the difference very clearly. Apart from that, there is a damage in the salt formation and the salt weathering. Pollutant and materials, they goes down. Material impacted by pollutants, and they our weather stoops, which is lot of stoops are available in India, that is known as Sanchi. Fungal infection is also attacking on these heritage site after any flood scenario. So there is a Sendai framework in that whole country. They have been decided. They have been decided to control all these things, and you can see and you can go through this. There is a cultural heritage site which has a very great importance, and they have given the importance to secure and save those things. So how to go about this? First of all, we have to see the heritage site which is prone, which is fall in which prone area, whether it is a seismic, flood and water related risk protection, whether there is a fire risk or other risk. To contribute this secure the heritage site, there is a Venice Declaration, and Venice Declaration they have again given the most important how to secure the national heritage site. In 29th October 2018, you can see the how this heritage site has been flooded. Water has been inundated even inside this heritage site. So we have to make something. There is a lot of technology is available which we can implement in such a way that this flooded water should not enter into the this heritage site. You see the after effect, there is some salination, some weathering, and the water impact, which is really bad, and we have to take care of this heritage site. You see how things are really getting bad. Here there is some salt impact if water area which is prone to tsunami or cyclone. So the water that has been a lot of salty contents, and this salty contents have been reached upward through their capillary action, and you can see how this salt have been deposited on different fracture areas, and at the same time they are degrading our heritage site. So immediately we need to take care of this. This one is again a heritage site which is caused by armed conflicts in the Syria. That is again, this one is a discoloration and weakening of the feather of a ceremonial fan caused by a light and ultraviolet. So we should have to take care that in such type of heritage places, direct sun should not be reached there. There is in this image you can see a two image. One is from the 1939 and other one is 2004. You can clearly visualize the difference of weathering and how it has been degraded. This one is a very famous temple of Kathmandu, which has been destroyed after the Nepal earthquake. So these are the different impacts of heritage site because of the disaster. So what we have to do, how we can procure all those things. We have to categorize those things, whether these heritage sites, they are fall in what are the rare events, what are the common events, and what are the cumulative effects. We have to categorize those things, whether it is flood area, earthquake area, landslide area, there is a forest fire, and based on that we have to take a preventive actions. So for that it's really a risk management, which is first action is to consult, communicate, consult, communicate, consult, communicate, then identify, analyze, evaluate, treat, and monitor. So there is 6 layer. First one is the region, which region your heritage is belong to, which site, what type of building, what are the conditions of the room, what are the fittings are aligned there, and what are the support we need to. It's very important that we have to prepare a very good disaster management plan for a heritage site, because all these sites we have to see whether sunlight is coming directly or not. If it is coming, we have to prevent, because it can again decompose a heritage site. Then we have to see the water stagnation should not be there. There should not be any gas or anything which can provoke fire incidents. And at the same time, then we have to make a disaster management plan. Once we know what are the threat is posed to that particular heritage, then we have to try to treat those heritage. So how to treat? It is again a 6 layer of enclosure, that is a 5 stage of control, and selecting the best option. So that is the best option is to avoid, block, detect, respond, and recover. So how to avoid? Avoid placing new heritage assets in area that is affected by the tsunami or flooding. We can avoid the risky practice like the lightening the lamp and all those things. Avoid food and other things to use inside this heritage site. Avoid losing information about the heritage asset by keeping an update inventories. And we should also stop people to take their selfie. What we need to block? We need to block the unauthorized entrance of visitors. block rainwater and direct sunlight in susceptible areas, block the entrance of several agents, curtain and filters on windows, showcase in a museum exhibition, and packaging with a latest whatever the facility things are available that we need to block. We need to detect a guard who can patrol the area, who can stop the theft, and we can alarm system has to be implemented there. Then respond. How to respond? If there is some archival records, we have to keep it in such a way that it should not be affected because of any disaster or because of any climate change. If the structure is moving or getting damaged, we try to stabilize those structure and remove sacred sculpture from a building at risk of a collapse following a strong earthquake. Then we try to reconstruct a monument destroyed by vandalism, work with police to recover stolen rare books, restore museum after an accidental breakage. Here you can see a very famous Venice city, which is known as a city of canals. Here they have been implemented a very good risk assessment and disaster management plan, and they try to secure all their heritage sites. This one is the another heritage site which is in the Thailand. It has been completely flooded because of the heavy rain, and for that they have again initiated a different risk assessment and disaster management plan. There is a mitigation process. These are different retrofitting. There is some traditional information, or you can say techniques also, that really protect from the earthquake or landslide. And this image you can see, it is a hut from the Bhuj earthquake, which has been stable after the very strong earthquake. And this techniques is really a good techniques to uh, save our heritage. So conclusion is human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. We sorry there is, I don't know, there is some conclusion is key that we need to this is the right time to take action. We are in a very critical condition of environment, climate change, and we are facing a lot of disaster. We as a policy, we have to try to contribute as individual to support our environment, and try to use some practices which really support to reduce the climate change and reduce the disaster. Start forestation, um, and a lot of there is activities, and try to align. I request everyone to try to align yourself along with the sustainable development goal agenda. Thank you so much. Over to you, Subhash sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Mukta. Your presentation is excellent. And I think this impact of disaster and climate changes on heritage site is the newest point, new topic in the disaster. First time I have listened this type of heritage. Thank you. Any question? Any question to anybody?
There isn't any questions in the questions section yet, Mr. Subhash. But I will let you know if any come in. So if anybody does have any questions, please can you pop them in the questions section, and we can pass them on to Dr. Mukta or Mr. Subhash. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think there is no question.
Not yet. Mr. Subhash, we missed what you were saying at the start of the webinar, so I don't know if you wanted to run through that again, and then in the meantime we can wait and see if any questions come in.
Okay. First things that we are sorry for delay and some technical problem is there. But topics of the Dr. Mukta is very interesting. Donna, any question you just pass it and we can.
Yeah. So I have one question: is how can we predict disasters?
How can?
How can we predict disasters?
We
From
cannot predict disaster, but yes, we can be prepared to face the disaster and reduce the risk. See, if tsunami is coming in particular area, we cannot stop, but we can take some preventive measures so that it should not affect the heritage site or the community also.
Lovely, thank you, Dr. Mukta. There aren't any other questions yet, so I'll hand back over to you, Mr. Subhash.
Thank you. Thank you. Donna, I think you recorded it, this
Yeah.
presentation. So you just forward it. Okay, very good presentation. That
Thank you, sir. And
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for giving me this opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. चलो हो गया सारा खत्म मजा ही नहीं आ रहा था नहीं